interesting. It's from the food paint challenge, and I usually just keep these, references so that I can paint them later on. So this cute reference was shared for the food paint challenge, which was hosted by Dennis and Alai Ganuza on Instagram. Now today for this painting, I'll be using my budget-friendly Pear gouache set. Now I have done the review, and the link and everything will be shared in the description, so you can check it out over there. Also, you can see that I have toned it. This is with acrylic. So I have toned the canvas or the paper, you can say, with a fluorescent neon pink, which is a Liquitex Basics. Also, again, the review has been done really well on my channel, and also I'll be sharing the link in the description later on. So if you're watching it later on or you're watching the rerun, you'll get it inside over there. So let's start. So this is the reference, and we're going to be starting. So let's start with sketching. Now, as you can see, there is no grid, nothing of that sort. So how do I go about sketching? So I will select one part of the reference, and then, what do? I take that as a reference point for other things. So this is going to be like, this is in the front, it's in the foreground. So I'm going to be first sketching out this, because this slice of apple is overlapping even this part and this part. So it's best to first sketch out this. So I'll just keep it on the side and I'll sketch it out. Okay. So yeah, this is our playground. Okay. So if this is our playground, we're going to be, you can draw a grid, but somehow I just like to keep it really loose. And I know I'm going to make mistakes. It's not that I'm not going to be making mistakes, but I like those imperfections. Not adding in too much of details over here. Kind of just, okay, so we got this part. It also has a lovely shadow. Yeah, so we got that part. Now, as you can see, this one starts somewhere here. So we go ahead with that part. It's kind of like a straight line, and then yeah, again from here. So sketching is going to be really simple. And we have the sticker out here, which I found really interesting and kind of cute. And yeah, now this is not the exact perfect drawing, but I kind of like it. Also, we need to draw the shadow for this one. That's cool. Now for the apple, we're going ahead with the apple. The apple starts somewhere around here and here. So when you draw, when you draw on the basis of, just one point and you want to keep it loose, this is another way of doing it without any grids, where you draw one part of the reference and then in correlation you just draw the other parts. This is not going to be exact same measurements, but you kind of get the gist of the whole thing. We have this apple here. And you know, I might be making mistakes as I said, but it doesn't kind of matter because the apple can have different shapes. You needn't have the exact same shape. I'm not going in for realism as it is. And we're kind of just sketching this out. Now, this should have been a little above, but that's okay. And we have this over here. We have the stem. And we have this interesting sticker. Which is kind of cool. And of course, the shadow. So yeah, we're done with the sketch now. Now I'm going to be painting with gouache, and the first layer is, the underpainting is of acrylics, as I said. Now this is done so that there is some pop of color over here, and which will make it more interesting. That's what's the purpose of doing. And you a lot of different tones, undertones. I have done a video on the different kind of undertones that you could do. Again, it was with an apple. That's a coincidence that I did it with an apple, using a simple apple reference. I just drew a lot of, I painted in a lot of tones on different, underpaintings. There was warm, there was neutral, there was complementary. So you could just check that video out if you're wondering, which undertone to use for what kind of painting. So let's get starting with the painting part of this. Now I made this and I'm really proud of it. This is a palette using shells that I collected. And the colors I'm using is, this is cyan primary. I'm also using, I'll just keep it here so you can see. I'm using the yellow. This is yellow primary. My name is Shazia from Conversations with Canvas. Also, I'm using the magenta. Now, this is a lovely color. Now, these are the modern primaries. I would call them the modern primaries because you see these colors used in a printer. Okay, so previously the traditional primaries are red, blue and yellow, as we all know, since ages the masters had used that. But now these are the modern primaries. They give you more vibrant colors, and this is definitely the choice of artists who would like to paint something modern, or not have too much of muted colors. They want vibrancy and color pops in their work. Okay, so this is the CMYK. Now K stands for black because for a printer you need black, but I'm not going in with black. I'm going in with a neutral. And for that neutral, I'm using a burnt umber. Now this is going to be used to darken the colors if I want, or even mute the colors. So that's the color range that I'm going to be using. Just keeping it aside. And I am a dentist, as well as I've been painting since quite some time now, and I do share in a lot of lives. I have a still life paint challenge which is going on Instagram. It's been the 4th year. We're already on round 4 of the alphabet still life paint challenge. Also, I make videos related to the still life paint challenge, which you can check on my page. So this is I had a plexiglass and I have stuck a disposable palette. Now, why did I do this? When you're painting with gouache, like, you can use a palette, but I like to use this, and this can be just wiped off and can be used again. So this is like you're reducing the waste also. So I like it that way. Now I'll be going in. I'll start with the painting now. I'll be going in with the first layer. It's going to be called the color blocking phase, and this is going to be kind of, I would say, more like a watercolor. So let's see how that goes now. So just like how you would paint with watercolors, I wet. And here I'm not so worried, of keeping the lines, because gouache is actually opaque. So, oops, sorry about that. But, so the second layer is going to be definitely more about, I would say, more opaque and more creamy. But now for this layer, we are going all light. I'm so sorry about that. Just give me a moment. Let me just get this thing sorted. It's getting stuck in my brush. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So it's really watery, as you can see. And the areas where we feel we need to add this, we're going to be just adding it. And you can see I'm painting just like how you would paint watercolors. It's okay to go outside, it's okay to blend. Okay, that's done. And we have the yellow. We are also going to be putting it here. And you can see I'm not actually bothered about the lines, because they will frankly not make a difference in the second layer. Going in with a little blue, kind of, this is like a dirty color, showing in the shadow areas, taking in some white, a little bit of yellow. Now I don't want the exact color, because this will give me room to play. And at the moment, I'm so sorry about that. This brush is a really tall one, and it's getting stuck on the camera stand, the tripod. Kind of just painting it really loose. The shadows are violet, which is really beautiful. There is some brown. Oops. Now this is going to be really troublesome. All the time, if this thing is going to be shaking, I think I should just lift this up a bit so that it doesn't come in the way. Is that okay now? Yeah, I guess now it's okay. So yeah, we have the shadow. This is fun. You can see there's a lot of bleeding happening, and I'm not getting worked up about that. Because this, as I said, is the first layer. We're not going to be too worked up about the whole thing. Lots of water. Can we have the reference? Oh yeah, sure. I think I'll move this away because this is not so important. This is important. Yeah. Is that okay, Musfira? and going in with just like watercolors. So if you're a watercolor expert, you could really paint beautifully with gouache. Letting the transparency show. Okay. Now this is kind of like, and I have, this is such a good thing to do. So if you have your phone, you don't need any app for this. You just use your phone and you go into markup with, if you have a iOS phone. I mean, I use an iPhone, so I do it with that. And I've just shared it on the other phone now. So this is just, you use the markup and you take the dropper thing and you just fill in those colors here. So this becomes an easy reference to the colors. Sometimes you cannot isolate the colors. So this is a great way to isolate colors. Now let's go in. So as you can see, this is quite a skin color, having a little bit of that red. So just mix in some color and don't be too stressed up about it. Let the colors bleed into each other. If you want to leave certain gaps for the underpainting to show, you could do that too. That would be nice. And yeah, you kind of covered up the area. Also would want, okay, maybe just see, it's so watery. And we've done the first layer. And what do you do with the palette now? As I said, this is a wonderful way to, not waste. You just use a damp cloth. And your palette is good to go. So this is a great way, to do this. And we're going to be waiting a bit, or maybe we could go in with the apple. I think that is kind of dry. So let's go in. Now the second step is not going to be very diluted color. So you need to have more color and less water. This was the first layer. We just wanted to cover up everything. Okay. So what do? Now we start making more concentrated color and are more aware of where that color is going to go. Okay. So that is something what we're going to be doing. Like we have this over here. And I kind of like this. There is something here. Now what happens with gouache, if it's wet, it's going to be reactivated and you're going to be having some kind of color mixing, which is kind of good. This is still too watery. We're going to be going in more thick. Okay. This is also again the second layer. Don't stress too much. Oh God, why is she painting like this? A painting should have an ugly layer. Should have some nice brushwork. Again, we have a certain darker spot over here. So we're going to be taking that red and we're going to use that neutral the burnt umber, and we're going to be darkening it. And I like it spreading over here too. This is kind of good. Maybe take that red. You know what? I like that there is some light coming over here, which is reflected from here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bit of that purple and we're going to play over here. And we're going to play in such a way that we're going to be mixing in a light magenta kind of a color, which needs to be lightened a bit more. Yeah. We're going to keep it for the moment like this. Okay. Let's just wipe my brush and get some more primary cyan out. No, that's the primary magenta. Yeah, that's the magenta. So we're going to leave it at that for the moment, but I just feel that this needs to be darkened a bit. This needs to be darkened a bit. Yep. Some reds. So it's like really looking very dark at the moment. The color play is always relative. It's not going to be like, oh, so never, go on to completing something till you're really very sure. Yes. So you can always change the color later on without, being, no, this color has to be exactly the way I see it. Because if you go into that, you might just mess it up. So it's better, just to keep it. If you're not very sure, just let that color be for that moment. Maybe just add this green over here also. Yeah, I like it. And it's a huge brush, so we could mess it up, just let that be now for the moment. We have the stem, which I think I should go for a smaller brush, but this is like really huge. Go for the browns with a little bit of the reds, and we'll add in the light a little later. The shadow over here. The light over here. And I think for the moment we just let that be, right? Now, no, I just left this part a little lighter, so we could have just some green coming in over here. I think I'll go in with that background because I really want a comparison of the extreme darks over here. So I think I should go in with the background first. That is the dark. And I'm mixing in, this needs a touch of water. You can see automatically this is coming into light, and we're going to be adding more light later on. That's kind of cool. Adding in more blue because I'm next to the red. Just a touch of water. And yeah, that's kind of good. Needs more light, definitely. I feel the apple needs more light, but we're going to be going on it later, not working on it now. So let's work on something else, and that something else is a slice. So for the slice we definitely need a lot of white, a touch of that yellow, maybe a touch of that red, touch of the burnt umber, and yeah, every time dipping in. Going in with more color so that we have a variety. Now we could add in more variety over here, like going in with some yellow, just for a bit. And then there is that line that we saw in the reference. We also have this part. It's too dark, I feel. So we could always, because it isn't so dark over there. We went really dark. And it needs to be out now. This brush is quite dirty now. It needs to be wiped. And you will see that now it's looking really bad, but we're going to be working on it. Taking a clean brush, taking some white. So your white has to be really opaque. And you wipe it instead of dragging it. Going in with a little bit of this green. You know, the fun part about painting live is you don't get worked up with your mistakes. Yeah, that can be worked on later. We have the shadow part. And we have the light part, which is more yellow. nice does it look? More yellow and white. So we could darken this part, as you can see. Yeah. I need more white now. And little touch of the yellow. Oops. Sorry about that. And yes, let's go in with the yellow. Over here. It's taking in a touch of that Now let's do the background with a larger brush so that we can really finish it off fast. For the background, we have that red, we have a lot of yellow, and definitely a lot of white. Touch of that neutral will definitely we're going to go in with, it's quite dark, I feel. Still quite dark. We're going to be painting the details a bit later on, and you can see automatically now as we put in this color, which is lighter, there is a change in how these colors, which were looking very muddy and dull, are automatically now looking better. So color is basically, I feel, pretty relative. So we've got that covered. And let's do the shadows. Now the shadow is quite vibrant in this one. And you know, we could just blend it out a bit, making it more realistic. We have it here. What is that blue with white? What color is that blue with white? Where is that? Nadia, could you just mention where exactly? I haven't yet painted the sticker. I'll be just doing that in a moment. The background. Okay, for the background, I used blue with burnt umber and red with burnt umber. So it gave it a nice glow. Now as it comes closer, the color becomes slightly more brown. Sorry about that. Excuse me. The color becomes slightly brown, and you can see now I'm using really opaque color, blending in a bit to create more interest. Shadows which are slightly softer, give it a nice realistic look. Again, over here we have it. Automatically the white now started really shining. So we've got this done, and completely washing this brush, and I think I'm done with this one, at least for now. And maybe I should go in with the thinner one. Okay, so now we have this sticker, which I feel is yet to be done. So we go in with a dark, wipe your brush, take in the blue with a little white. That kind of is interesting. Taking the white. Now this sticker has white, but I'm not going to go with the white now. And I'm going in with the color. You know, this color with just a touch of white. And I'm going to go in with white and a touch of yellow for this part of the sticker, because it's completely in the light. Okay, we might need more color over there. Also, we might need to define that shadow a bit, because the shadow is like this. And yeah, so we could go with pure white, or you could even use a marker or something like that when you want to go in. We need to do that later. Now if that is not standing out, you could just go in with a darker color, and automatically you see that it stands out. Sometimes you don't need to, really rack your brains on it. You just need to understand how to go about it. So we've got this basic thing done. There are certain things which are yet remaining, like we have this stem which needs to be colored. It needs more yellow and white for sure. Now you know what, I'm just going to wipe my brush really well and take some white. You need a lot of white when you are painting with gouache, I feel. And sorry, that just, yeah. So we are using this yellow, a little bit of that blue, a little bit of that red, white for sure, and we're going in and we're taking that yellow too, and a bit of that red. And it's really easy to overlap with this if your brush is not dirty. See? This is damn dirty. What's wrong with it? Yeah, take the red. Wipe it well. Take the yellow. Blend it well. Okay. Need more yellow. There is a touch of pink over here in this. We're going in with a lot of, which is kind of here. Yeah, there's some pink over here. I should have left that fluorescent pink, but I guess it's okay. And of course there is white, which is kind of here and here. Take that red and kind of soften this if you want. And that apple automatically just got some life in it with that added highlights. I just feel there should be more yellow over here. Need a smaller, thinner brush for this shadow, the stem's shadow. You can see there is such a lovely glow on this apple, and we're also going in. There's something written on that sticker, and I'm going in with my acrylic marker, and I'm just going to write something. Okay, and that's done. The apple is done at least. This is kind of weird, so this needs to be done. Yeah. So you're done with the apple. Let's work on the, so I'll be first working on this one. The brush needs to be really clean. But it's kind of not really dirty now, but it's okay. Let's see how it goes. So this is more of a yellow, and this is more of a skin tone. That's how it is. So we take a bit of that white with just a touch of the yellow, and I'm not taking water. The water is quite dirty now. And just going in with and can you see that? What a gorgeous glow that has. And there is a little bit of green, over here. So we could add that. Yeah, that's interesting. So if you get scared of, the ugly stage of your painting and you're like, oh God, this isn't working, I'm going to leave it, you're going to be making the biggest mistake. Now I'm using this to give it that pure white thing. Also, I need a little bit of that I don't know why I did that. Let's spread it out. Yeah. So we got that sticker too over here. This part is quite dark, so we're going in with a blue and a little bit of that mud. I could use the muddy water. Going in slightly darker. So you could mix the violet with the yellow and you get a nice grey. And that's what I'm going to do. But I want a little bit of that red too, because I feel, the light is kind of reflected over here. Maybe just a bit of this white over here. Yeah, that's got a nice shade now. Okay, now going in with yellow. Yeah, that's nice. We could have a little bit of that showing out over there. We could have the yellow over here. And now we're just adding some details, as you can see, to make it look more realistic. This is kind of weird. Whatever you find, oh, it needs to. This is kind of cute. Now this definitely needs work because this is in the foreground and this has to be really good. But you have to see that the light is kind of coming from here, this way. It's coming from top over here. So we need to see that there is certain parts which are going to be light and there are certain parts which are going to be dark. But we're going to go with a more orangish kind of yellow over here, light over here. Okay, this is going to be more orangish. Wow, I like that. You see that? It's so realistic. I don't usually paint realism with acrylics, but I don't know, with other mediums I just love to go a bit on the realism side. And I'm liking this. This has turned out really nice. We could have a little bit of that violet playing in with the red. That's cool. I like that. Could have a little bit of that darkened. Oh, this brush needs to be washed. That's nice. I like that. So I'm quite happy with the way this has turned out. We took nearly an hour to get it done, less than an hour, around 45 minutes to get this done. And you can always go in and layer in more and more and more. Like I'm going to go in with the yellow in certain places. This just gives him drama. Yep. Now for one more thing, which I feel could be done, is going in with that. And as it dries, it doesn't mix with the lower colors or the base color. Oops. Yeah. So once it starts drying, it's best to go in with, your next layer. And yeah, I like this. Maybe a little more red. And you can go on and on with it. Just adding some more darks. That just makes it more vibrant, I think. Nice. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. It was quite into, wait. It still needs something. One second. It still needs a touch of white, which I'm going to be adding. Hopefully cleaning this brush really well. See, the water's gone muddy and I haven't kept another jar. I've been too lazy for that. I'm just going to be wiping it completely. Going in with kind of like it now. And so I feel a little, it's gone too dark over here. Just lightening this a bit. Yeah. So done with it. Now finally, thank you for joining in today's live. And if you have any ideas for what I should be painting next or in which material, do mention it in the comments, or if you're on my Instagram page, you can always mention, let's go in and do something of this sort. Thank you for joining in. It was wonderful having you online today. Love you. Take care. Bye-bye. See you again on next Saturday paint party.